They say Black Hollow High is cursed. Not in the way movies talk about curses, with spinning heads and screaming spirits, but in the quiet, creeping way that makes the hairs on your neck rise when no one else seems to notice. The kind of curse that settles into the bones of a place. Sophia Hart didn't believe in ghosts, at least not until the first week of her junior year. It began with a whisper. Soft, barely a breath, but it came from the wrong direction, behind her in an empty hallway, while she was alone grabbing a forgotten notebook from her locker after school. "Help me." She spun around. Nothing. No one. Just the long, dark stretch of corridor leading toward the East Wing, a part of the school that had been locked up for years. Rumor said it was closed for renovations, but Sophia had been a student there long enough to know that was a lie. Renovations didn't take 6 years, and they didn't require chains on the doors. She stepped closer against her better judgment, staring down the hallway. Her fingers brushed the cool metal of locker 318, the same locker students said used to fly open on its own, the one no one ever used anymore. "Probably just my imagination," she muttered, forcing a nervous laugh. That's when the locker slammed open. The sound rang out like a gunshot in the stillness. Sophia stumbled back, heart hammering, eyes wide. The hallway was empty, dead silent. The locker slowly creaked shut again on its own. She didn't scream, not yet, but her legs moved fast, running back toward the main exit. Breath shallow, mind racing. She didn't tell anyone about it, not even Mason, her best friend and designated voice of reason. He would say it was the wind, or maybe a janitor playing a prank. But deep down, Sophia knew what she'd felt. The cold, the whisper, the fear. Something wasn't right. The next morning, the school was buzzing, with the kind of gossip that spreads like wildfire in small towns. A freshman passed out outside the East Wing, someone said in the cafeteria. She was crying when they found her. Said she saw a girl in the window. What kind of girl? Pale skin, old uniform, crying blood. Sophia nearly dropped her tray. That detail again. It matched the rumors she'd read online, stories buried in comment sections, whispered in Reddit threads about haunted schools. She'd laughed them off at the time, but now hearing it in real life, from someone who couldn't have known, made her skin crawl. That afternoon, she found herself drawn to the East Wing door again. It was chained, just like always. The same faded no entry sign dangling off it like a forgotten warning. But this time there was something new. A handprint, faint, smudged, dark red. She reached toward it, heart pounding, and then she heard it again. "Help me." She yanked her hand back. This wasn't a ghost story anymore. It was a message, and something wanted her to hear it. The new semester begins. The halls of Black Hollow High echoed with the familiar shuffle of sneakers, the chatter of students and the slamming of lockers. It was the first day of the fall semester, and the air buzzed with a mix of nervous energy and excitement. The smell of floor polish and old books hung heavy in the air, clinging to every inch of the century-old building. But beneath that lively atmosphere was something else, something colder, something older. Sophia Hart, a junior known for her curiosity and knack for storytelling, stepped through the front doors of the school and paused. Her best friend Mason bumped into her from behind. "Hey, what's the holdup?" he asked, adjusting his backpack. Sophia squinted down the main hallway, toward the East Wing, the part of the school that had been under renovation for over 5 years. The double doors leading to it were chained shut, a dusty no-entry sign hanging loosely from a rusted hook. "Do you feel that?" she asked, barely above a whisper. "Feel what?" "That cold, like the temperature just dropped." Mason rolled his eyes. "You've been reading too many of those horror blogs again. It's probably just the AC." Sophia shrugged, but the feeling lingered like a shadow behind her. Something about that East Wing always gave her the creeps. Teachers rarely talked about it, and the few who did dismissed it with a tight smile and a quick subject change. As they walked to their homeroom, the whispering began. Not from ghosts, at least not yet, but from their fellow students. "Did you hear? A freshman swears she saw a girl standing in the science wing window last night." Another ghost story. Every year someone makes one up. This one's different. She described her in detail. Long black hair, old-fashioned uniform, eyes like she was crying blood. Sophia's ears perked up. Mason groaned. "Please don't say you believe it." "I believe every story has a truth hidden in it." she said, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. Later that day, during lunch, Sophia pulled out her old notebook. It was already half full of articles, rumors, and scribbled theories about the school's dark past. "You're seriously going to dig into this again, aren't you?" Mason asked as he popped open a can of soda. "Of course. Every school has its secrets. But this one, it's different. The stories don't fade, they build, like something's waiting to be found." Just then, a loud clang echoed through the cafeteria, making everyone jump. A tray had fallen from a table near the back, but there was no one there. Sophia stood, heart pounding. The air turned cold again. Something had begun. The first encounter. The bell rang, jolting everyone back to routine. Sophia walked to her last class of the day, chemistry, her mind spinning with theories. She couldn't shake the image of the ghostly girl from the rumor. The mention of crying blood kept replaying in her head like a broken record. Mr. Donovan, the chemistry teacher, was as enthusiastic as ever, launching into a long-winded explanation about chemical bonds. But Sophia barely heard a word. Her seat was near the back of the lab, right by the door that led into the east wing. It was locked, of course, but something about it gnawed at her, like a word on the tip of the tongue or a memory just out of reach. Her hand drifted toward her notebook again. She drew a rough map of the school and circled the east wing. "Sophia?" Mr. Donovan's voice cut through her thoughts. "Care to tell us what the valence shell of carbon is?" 4? A few giggles rippled across the room. Mr. Donovan nodded, clearly unconvinced she was paying attention, but satisfied enough with the answer. When the final bell rang, Sophia waited until most of the class had filed out. She walked slowly past the east wing door. The padlock was still there, rusted but firm. As she stared at it, a chill snaked down her spine. Then she heard it. A faint knock from the other side of the door. She froze. Another knock. "Sophia?" She turned. Mason had come back for her, his face pale. "Why are you standing there?" She looked back at the door. Silence. "I heard something." Mason shook his head. "Let's go before you freak me out." But Sophia didn't move. There, just above the lock, was a handprint. Small, faint, and smeared, as if someone had tried to push through from the other side. The strangest part? The print was made of something dark red. "Perfect, let's keep the story going." The detention dare. Word of the bloody handprint spread fast. By the next morning, the rumor mill had gone into overdrive. Some said it was a prank. Others swore it was real. A few even claimed they'd seen the ghostly girl staring through the chemistry lab windows after dark. Sophia sat in the library with Mason and their other two friends, Lena and Jay, flipping through old yearbooks and school records. She was determined to find anything related to the ghost. "Look at this," Lena said, sliding a torn black and white photo across the table. It showed a girl standing in front of the east wing before it was sealed off. Her eyes were dark, her expression unreadable. "No name?" Sophia asked. "Just a first initial, E." Jay leaned back in his chair. "Why don't we just go in there? See for ourselves?" Mason rolled his eyes. "Because we'd get suspended. Or possessed. Probably both." But Sophia's mind was already spinning. That afternoon, fate handed them an opportunity. A prank gone wrong in gym class landed all four of them in detention. Mr. Price, the cranky assistant principal, pointed to a dusty storage room down the hall. "You four are cleaning this out. No phones, no nonsense." As he turned the corner, Jay grinned. "Guys, this room is right next to the east wing entrance." Sophia's heart quickened. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Lena looked uneasy. "This is a bad idea." Jay already had a flashlight in hand. "Which means it's a great idea." They worked fast, stacking boxes and pretending to clean. As soon as they were alone, Sophia led them to the corner where a loose panel covered a forgotten vent. It led straight into the east wing. They crawled through one by one, the air growing colder with each step. Dust filled their lungs. Cobwebs clung to their clothes. Finally, they emerged in a hallway frozen in time. Old lockers stood rusted shut. Faded posters lined the walls. A broken trophy case lay shattered on the floor. Everything was covered in a thick layer of dust, except for one locker. Locker 1.8, clean, untouched. A small red ribbon hung from the handle. Jay reached for it. "Don't," Lena whispered, her voice trembling. Too late. The locker creaked open. Inside was a single item, An old notebook, its pages yellowed with age. Sophia opened it slowly. The first page read, "Property of Eliza Graves." As she turned the page, a sudden gust of cold wind blew through the hallway, slamming the locker shut behind them, and from the shadows came a whisper, "Help me." The hidden diary. The whisper echoed through the hallway, soft yet chilling. Every sound in the east wing suddenly faded. No distant creaks, no hum from the old lights, just silence. Sophia clutched the diary, her fingers trembling. The name on the front, Eliza Graves, kept repeating in her mind like a warning. Jay backed up slowly. "Tell me someone else heard that." "We all did," Mason said, his voice tight. Lena turned in a slow circle. "There's no one here, right?" Sophia flipped through the diary. The entries were written in neat, careful handwriting. The ink slightly faded, but still legible. The first date, October 13th, 1972. "Today I saw the girl again. She was standing at the edge of the hallway near the chemistry lab, just watching. Everyone thinks I'm imagining her, but I know she's real. I can feel her." Sophia's breath caught in her throat. "This isn't just a ghost story. Eliza saw her too, back then." As they read deeper into the diary, Eliza's tone changed. Her early entries were filled with curiosity, even fascination. But soon they turned darker. The girl started whispering my name. "She wants me to do something, but I can't understand. I think she's trapped, or angry, or both. I told Principal Hargrove. He said I was lying. Said if I talked about it again, I'd be expelled. Why would he say that unless he was hiding something?" Jay looked around. "Wait, Hargrove? That old photo in the office, he was principal back then." Sophia nodded. "And if he tried to cover this up..." A loud bang made them jump. One of the classroom doors at the end of the hallway slammed shut. Then the lights flickered, and then they saw her. A girl in an old school uniform stood under the flickering light. Her hair was long and wet, her eyes dark, her face pale as snow. Tears, dark red, streamed down her cheeks. "Run!" Sophia whispered. But the girl didn't move. She only raised her hand and pointed directly at them. Then she was gone. The hidden diary, final moments. The moment the ghost vanished, the lights above them surged and died. Darkness swallowed the hallway. Jay fumbled with his flashlight and finally clicked it on. "We need to get out now." They scrambled back through the vent, the diary still clenched in Sophia's hand. The narrow tunnel felt tighter, the air heavier, as if the school itself were trying to keep them inside. When they burst out into the storage room, dust-covered and wide-eyed, Mr. Price was standing at the door, scowling. "You kids think this is a joke?" he barked. "Detention's over, go home. And if I catch any of you near the East Wing again, you're suspended. Understand?" But Sophia wasn't listening. She stared at the diary, her fingers tracing Eliza's final entry. "If you're reading this, she's still here, and they're still lying." That night, Sophia couldn't sleep. She sat at her desk, reading through the rest of Eliza's diary by flashlight. One passage stood out, dated just days before Eliza's disappearance. "There's something behind the walls. I can hear it at night, scratching, crying. It's not just her. There's something else buried here." Sophia closed the book slowly. This wasn't just about a ghost. This was about something that had been buried, hidden for decades, and someone had made sure it stayed that way. But now it was waking up.